Hey, welcome in to Make Your Money Matter. I'm your host, Brad Barrett. I'm also a managing director and partner here at One Capital Management. Today on our show, we're going to answer a question that, as a financial advisor, I probably get asked on a weekly basis. And this is the question: am I going to be okay in retirement? Now, no matter what age you are, it's important, I think, to focus on 5 key areas that I'm going to bring up today because, again, it doesn't matter whether or not you're in your 20s, 30s, or 40s, or maybe your 60s or 70s. We're going to address it here on the show. But before we get started, make sure to smash that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single episode. All right, let's get into it. So I want to start off by saying I look at retirement planning to be whatever stage or age you might be in that you want to become financially free. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to be 67 years old or whatever the national retirement average is. But planning for retirement, again, whatever age that might be, is actually pretty simple, okay? Just answer the question in the headline of this show: am I going to be okay in retirement? You answer yes. The problem is, though, most of us can't do that, right? I mean, there's always that little question mark at the end. And ultimately, answering this question is actually very difficult because it requires, I think, asking about and talking to yourself about new obstacles you probably didn't face during your working years. Let's say questions like, did I save enough money? Will I run out of money? When do I start Social Security? Or how do I do RMDs or take RMDs? Should I pay off my mortgage? Should I take a pension? I mean, this list can go on and on, right? So how do you know for certain that you'll be okay in retirement? Here are 5 key areas to focus on. Number 1, protect what you save. Start there. Look, being retired means you aren't saving anymore, correct? You're spending. And when you spend and lose money at the same time in your investments, bad things can happen. Let me give you a quick example. If you saved $1 million and you need $50,000 a year in income off of that million, that's 5%. Pretty simple math. Now, in a very dramatic hypothetical scenario, if your investments you had that $1 million in loses 50%, you now have $500,000, but again, you still need the $50,000 a year to spend to live, right? That's no longer 5%. That's now 10%, and that's too much. You'll most likely, on a scenario of planning, run out of money very quickly. And very simply, I state this: safety with reasonable returns wins every time. I want to share that again. Safety with reasonable returns wins every time. All right, number 2, have an income plan. Look, you need to know that you'll never run out of money. That's the whole point. That's ultimately the way to answer this question. Now, to do that, you must have a detailed and all-inclusive, comprehensive income plan. It needs to provide certainty that you will never run out of money no matter how long you live. Okay, that's important. Number 3, this one I'm going to shift gears a little bit. This is working out your healthcare options. Again, no matter what age you are in, it's important to focus on this. You've heard me say this before, and here's why. We tend to sacrifice our health for our wealth in our early years, and then we choose to be financially free, or as we get older, we then flip it around. We are now in our older years, let's say, again, I don't care if that's your 40 versus 20 or 60 versus 40, we now sacrifice our wealth for our health. So no matter what age you are listening or watching this right now, understanding that your health matters and your healthcare options matter, it really ultimately, it's being able to live the life you want to live by working and saving, and then have the discipline to create this wealth, right? That you've been, ultimately wanting to use and be healthy enough to use. So working out your options and your understanding your healthcare, very important. All right. Number 4 is taxes. Look, obvious statement here. Paying too much taxes is public enemy number 1, right? We don't want to do that. So we want to reduce the taxes you owe. And focusing on that, as you hear me say often, it's not always about what you own, but how you own it. So you want to focus on your tax deferred assets. You want to focus on your taxable assets, your Roth assets, and all of these accounts together. I call this bucket planning. So understanding within the context of your plan, which area or which bucket you're going to take from first on your income matters. So if you start taking and drawing money, as I mentioned in item number 2, have an income plan of where you're taking the money from. You want to be able to know that I can have a tax efficient approach to it. I call this the bracket game. You want to maximize the highest of the lowest tax bracket. And to do that, you have to have different kinds of buckets, right? You have different types of accounts to be able to do that. Ultimately, all this is to reduce the taxes you owe. 5th and final, friends, is this. Put together an estate plan, a succession plan. If you don't have an estate plan, or maybe even an improperly designed one, not to scare you, but your money can end up in the wrong people's hands, all right? You don't want that to happen. You've worked way too hard, you've had too much discipline, and you maybe sacrificed a whole bunch, and you want to pass it on tax efficiently, like item number 4, and effectively, so that your heirs or whoever you're leaving it to have success to the wealth that you've built. Look, if you address each of these areas, each of these 5 areas I walked through today when it comes to retirement, and again, retirement being whenever you become financially free, you have done everything possible to endure and you'll be okay. And to answer this question, you'll be okay for your life. And I would end on this. Seek guidance, seek advice, seek counsel. Make sure you have an advisor to help you build that income plan, to help you secure the assets and ultimately coordinate with an estate planning attorney or a tax preparer, who handles maybe number 4, number 5, which again reduces your taxes and build a succession plan or estate plan. Hey, hope you enjoyed that today. If you did, make sure to subscribe to the Make Your Money Matter show so you don't miss a single episode. And always remember to make your money matter.